Welcome to the September 6, 2024 edition of Coffee and Kolache at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. We are so pleased to have all of you with us here, both virtually and here on site at the library. I'm Cecilia Rakusek, the president and CEO, and today we have a very special program. You know, the museum is celebrating its 50th anniversary all year long. And we've had programs, we've had concerts, we've had special events, special webinars. And we have really evolved in the last 50 years into a great institution. And part of the way that we've done it is by our wonderful librarian. And he's going to talk to us today about some of his activities and how he's seen this museum evolve. You've been here now 26 years, David?
Since 1997.
Well, I know you started when you were 10.
Something like that, yeah.
Right. Well, Dave, tell us a little bit, and we're so grateful to you for building this library, and I know you're going to share something that's coming up very soon,
Sure.
maybe with us. But tell us how, over the past, say, 20 years, you've seen this place evolve.
Right. Well, when I came on board here at the museum, it was just soon after the dedication in '95, so it started in '97. And so the library was kind of in its infancy at that time, and I had the good fortune of having two pre-existing volunteers that certainly helped me kind of get my feet under me and get oriented to what this Czech American and Slovak American history and culture is all about. Bob Drahutzal and Bernie Drahutzal. So they were ones that we just kind of assessed what we had going on. A lot of stuff was still in boxes at that time, and it's just like, guys, let's just open up boxes and kind of divide and conquer by what kind of materials we find there. Books, periodicals, phonograph records, and so forth. So based on that, we just started kind of getting things organized. And then, we just build upon that, and then we were able to get some funding through the Czech Heritage Foundation to start a cataloging effort. We got some other grants then to help with that. And we got an online catalog. So we just continued to build upon our successes. And of course, the flood came along, and that certainly changed things. But it's largely been through acquisitions from individuals and organizations that we build up our collection over time.
Well, I want to take that point up, David, because you've amassed a collection of over 30,000 pieces. Can you tell our audience today how important it is to call you, and if they have anything at home, they may think, oh, this is something we can just throw away, and it may have value, and I know I'm always referring them to you. So do you want to tell our people how they can contact you and how we can make sure we build our archives, continue to build our collections?
Sure. So, most of our materials are donated, and that's kind of a different operating model that you see through, like, say, public libraries or universities and so forth. So, and so it kind of comes to us, one item at a time, or sometimes a truckload at a time. And so, these items, it's always kind of a discovery process. What do you have to offer? Tell me about what this is. And so, it could be in the form of, personal papers, that letters that people have written back and forth to each other. Periodicals that have been stashed away in some cupboard or something like that. Oftentimes people discover these things when they're downsizing, or a family member has passed on, and those family members are then going through those personal effects. And so oftentimes it's people who are either close to their Czech and Slovak history and culture, or their family members knew, oh, grandma, she was a proud Slovak. And so, that kind of thing. And then they honor their relatives by reaching out to us, by trying to find a home for these things. And so, so that's how people find out about us. Oftentimes, they'll do a keyword search, Czech or Slovak library, or museum, and then, we come up at the top of the list. And so, that works also for artifacts too. So that's how the process starts. It's just reaching out to us and then describing what they have to offer.
And I think it's so important. You've highlighted something, Dave, that for families that may go through things and say, oh, this isn't important, I'm going to pitch it. Give you a call, give Stephanie a call, our curator, because many times these things are so valuable for future generations. We can learn from them. We can, treasure them. And once you donate to the library, or to the artifacts, it can never leave. We're an accredited museum,
Right.
so it becomes part of the museum artifacts, which is really, Stephanie, our curator, wants a Croy of mine. I said, you can't have it till I'm dead. But, because I know once I give it to her, I'll never be able to
Right,
wear it again.
right.
So, the point is that once you donate something, it really becomes part of our permanent collection and part of something that we really value. So do you want to talk a little bit about that when people, because we're accredited by the American Alliance of Museums, we have maximum 10-year accreditation, talk a little bit how important when something is donated, it really stays.
Yeah, so we have a collections management policy that governs how we do our work here within both the library and the curatorial end of things. And we have a collection development policy that's specific for the library. And that lays out for us what kind of things that we accept. There's certain things that are high priority. Certainly those things that describe the Slovak American and the Czech American communities here in America, that's high on our list. Periodicals in particular, or letters, ephemera, those things. One of the collections that we have here it's a rather extensive collection, and they're local, of plays that were produced here in Cedar Rapids. And those are things that are kind of a one and done. You have the play, okay, done with that, it goes in the garbage. Well, some people, fortunately, have kept these, and so that's an example of just an ephemeral item that actually is probably more rare than, say, other items that we might get in comparison. So it's those kind of things that kind of give us a little understanding of a one-time event that took place. Those are things that I'm really interested in because it documents those activities of these immigrant communities here in America.
And you so often speak about telling the Czech story, the Slovak story, and the American story, and that's what you want. And my favorite sort of remembrance of the great job that you've done is a few years ago we had a scholar doing research here, and she said, I'm really trying to find Madeleine Albright's dissertation. Dave goes, we've got it. And so I thought, that we really, so those kinds of things, and so the scholar was very happy and grateful.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit, Dave, about going forth now. I know you're acquiring some major collections. Do you want to tell us about a little bit, because we've been very Czech-centric, which is good, and now we're going to become, I think, balanced.
Yeah, so Cedar Rapids is in the upper Midwest. This area was largely settled by Czech immigrants. There were Slovaks that settled here in Iowa, but by and large, it's largely a Czech, Czech-centric. But our mission is Czech and Slovak, and so for us, that's I know, and that applies for what Stephanie does too, is to balance that Czech and Slovak experience within our collections. And so, and then the interesting thing about our museum too, in the library, is that not only do we deal with the European experience, we deal with the American experience. And that kind of differentiates, I think, us from other, ethnic museums perhaps that might have a bias one way or the other. We cover both ends. So that gives us a lot of latitude in what we collect here. Because I think, and that's a good strategy, because it's holistic, it's comprehensive, because one without the other, you're missing part of the story. And so, but the Slovak, we're not, so we're physically removed from kind of where the Slovaks were active, which is more on the East Coast. Pennsylvania certainly, but New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Ohio, that's where a majority of the Slovaks settled. So, we had the great opportunity to work with the Sisters of St. Cyril and Methodius, who are located in Danville, Pennsylvania. So it's central Pennsylvania. And that was an order that was established to teach the children of Slovak immigrants in parochial schools here in America. And for many years, for several decades, those sisters taught in those parochial schools. Now, demographics have changed. You know, we're in the 21st century now. And so that order has basically, you know, it's served its purpose. And that order is winding down now. But as a legacy of that commitment to education, they collected Slovak language materials published abroad in Slovakia, as well as here in the United States. And it's a real treasure trove of material that the sisters were really concerned about as they were looking to their future, you know, what to do with these materials. So we had the good fortune of one of their sisters reaching out to me. We established contact and conversation. Dalibor and I were on another acquisitions trip coming back from Maryland and paid them a visit and had a chance to see in person the extent of these materials, which is vast. And so based, you know, on that on-site visit, we then, you know, continued to talk with them, and we formed an agreement to acquire all those materials. And so, we acquired the first part, which was largely periodicals, newspapers, journals, and so forth, back in December, and that was the first phase. We just acquired, just a couple of weeks ago, the second phase, which involves the catalog book collection. And so, so that's already on the shelves now.
Wow.
So we're doing this in anticipation of the presidential visit coming up on the 27th. And we really want to, you know, make a good, solid impression with our Slovak delegation coming from abroad. That you know, we truly are an area, you know, an institution that focuses on Slovak and Slovak American history and culture, as well as Czech American.
Well, congratulations. That's really an incredible addition to our collection here. And one of the things that is so important about that is, you know, museums have evolved into real education centers. So it's both passive education as we go and look at a museum and look at the periodicals, look at the artifacts, but it's also a teaching place. And with this addition, we'll be able to bring scholars, we'll be able to bring a lot of people here to do research, right?
Correct. That's the whole intent here is by acquiring these materials, making them available to the public, you know, we want to make them available to researchers so that they and we can understand, you know, this rich, you know, kind of a culture and history that these immigrants brought to America. So that's, you know, that's something that has been kind of a long-term, you know, guiding principle here. You know, do these materials have research value? And you know, who would be interested in these things? So I'm always interested in you know, our potential research audience.
Well, you know, just coming back from both the Czech and Slovak republics and me mentioning this, there was a lot of interest in our sister universities and brother universities there that, oh, we'll send students there. So that's really
yeah, and so that's a perfect example of having these international, you know, relations, so that we can have these operational opportunities too. It's exciting.
It's very. I was reading a paper in Slovakia, and on the front page was the presidents of the Czech Republic and Slovakia, and the headlines were, "They will meet in Iowa." And I thought, wow, this is really great, which is a great segue into the what you mentioned about the dedication of this Jan Kola collection.
Correct.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so along with since the presidents will be here, we're taking this opportunity really to highlight this acquisition and raise the visibility of it, not only nationally but internationally. So and you know, that's very satisfying that we're in that position.
Well, so, and just for our listening audience, the week of September 20th to the 27th is huge here at the museum. So, Dave, if I forget anything, kind of nudge me a little bit. On the 20th of September is our annual Brunost, which is the biggest half-day food and beverage pairing event in Iowa. So September 20th from 5:30 to 9:30, and then the after party beyond that will be our Brunost. But then starts the real action after the Brunost, in that we are going to dedicate a Moravian collection on the 24th. And then the 25th, and I want everybody to mark their calendars for the 25th, as well as for the dedication of our Moravian exhibit on the 24th. His name is Nicholas Winton, and Nicholas Winton will be here on Wednesday, September 25th. And Winton is the son of Sir Winton, Sir Nicholas Winton, who was the businessman who in the 40s had the Kinder transport out of Prague with Jewish children to take them to the UK. And he, over 600 were able to be on this transport, and then the last one was shut down. But there was a movie made about him, the Sir Nicholas Winton, and he was in the UK and London, and this is just a few years ago.
Oh, it's very recent, yeah.
And it said, how many people are here as a result of this Kinder transport? 3,000 people stood up. It was just, it was heart-wrenching to see, so beautiful that because of him, all these people were able to survive. Well, his son now is on a speaking circuit, and thanks to the Thaler Foundation, we're bringing him here to the museum. So on Wednesday, September 25th at 6:30, be sure you come. And right before that will be another exhibit opening, I think, right before that. And so check out our website, and you'll see lots of things coming on. We've got so the 24th, 25th, and then the 26th is your big day.
Yeah, so that's when the dedication of this Jankula Library collection will take place, and so we're very happy to have our Slovak and Czech delegation participate in that.
And our Slovak president will be there, so that's great. And then we are also going to have, of course, some a little reception. And then we're also going to open another exhibit called Slovak Epic, and that's going to be panels of Slovak Kroj that we've never had before. It's a brand new exhibit, and that'll be part of our exhibit 2 that we're going to open up on Thursday. Then on Friday, September 27th, everybody mark their calendars at 12 o'clock noon, the reprise of the presidents. We're going to dedicate our Burrish Immigration Tower, clock tower, and just to set it straight now, we're the only one in North America like it, and one of only 8 in the world. So that's going to be quite a feat to have that clock tower here. Everybody's invited to the dedication from 12 to 12:45 on Friday, September 27th, Friday, September 27th. Mark your calendars, and you can start coming in at 9:30 to get your good seat outside. And we'll have some wonderful, our store has prepared some wonderful memorabilia for the day to purchase. And this will be a once in a lifetime. It's a reprise of the 3 presidents. Unfortunately, President Clinton, we don't think can be with us, but the other 2 are confirmed, and Governor Reynolds has confirmed. So she will be with them. It'll be the 2 presidents and President Pellegrini from the Slovak Republic and President Petr Pavel from the Czech Republic. So we're both very excited about this. And that should be a great event for everybody. So mark your calendars, Friday, September 27th at 12 o'clock noon, but get your place early that morning. We're going to open up the gates at 9:30.
So to kind of tack on to that, today there's been a lot of activity in the library.
Yes,
because
tell us.
We had the uncrating of the figurines that will be featured in the clock tower, and that was pretty exciting. We had a big photo op for them. We have professional photos taken of them, but these both you and I were a part of that process that helped kind of create these characters, if you will. Some of whom are many of them who are based on actual people or based on historic images that are, historically and period correct.
Right. And what's so neat about it, thanks for bringing that up, what's so neat about it is if we look at that clock tower, which we call an Orloj, that's based on the one built in Prague in 1410, is that it truly is Czech and Slovak. So the clock mechanism was built by the engineers, Spell and Company in Prague, who take care of the current clock tower. They built the mechanism for us. And I said, it's got to be Czech and Slovak. So we found a Slovak carver who did our statues. And unlike Prague and even Olomouc, where there are Orloj, they're religious figurines. Ours are immigrants. We wanted to really show immigrants to our country, to our, especially a state of Iowa. So we have a butcher, we have a factory worker, we have an ice maker, we have an accordion player, we have a mother with a baby, we have a sokol. So we have many, that really represent really immigrants to Iowa. So, and the music that they will be playing in the clock tower is going to be the music of Smetana and Dvorak. So we'll have our, key people that influence music, especially Dvorak in Iowa. So that's very exciting. So again, mark your calendars. And I've got some other dates. But Dave, given what we talked about and answer, where do you see the future? We're celebrating 50 years. This is going to be a reprise of the presidents. What's next for you?
Well, certainly, with these large acquisitions we've had. So just to give you a sense, these have been coming on not just boxes, but pallets. We probably have acquired about, with this Yankola library acquisition, so far we've acquired about 400 boxes worth of material. And the third phase will be probably, 300 plus. So this is a large amount of material that we're acquiring here. So again, going back to the sisters, they're entrusting us to be the stewards of these materials now. So it will be a process within the next year or so to wrap our hands around these materials and to and then with the understanding that we're going to catalog them. I don't know if it's visible from our cameras here, but we acquired a card catalog from the library as part of this acquisition. So that's kind of certainly a 20th century physical manifestation of what a library is. But bring it into the 21st century, we do want to catalog these materials, both the books and the periodicals. So that will be an effort, to get them online and so that they're accessible for researchers all around the world. So, but then, especially with the periodicals, it would be wonderful if we could be able to digitize those, especially the Slovak American ones that are, relatively rare and obscure. I look forward to delving into more of that in the coming years. But looking ahead too, there's one of the long-term ambitions that I've had was to create an online portal of these various Czech American and Slovak American periodicals, because that's where I think talking from a research standpoint, that's where these periodicals really are the source and document these activities of these immigrant groups here in America. And off to the side here, we've got I don't know if it's visible, but current periodicals that are issued by the Czech and Slovak American organizations that are active today. We archive those, and so those are going to be historic at some point in the future here too. So, but these are important materials for us to understand, what was going on in the late 19th century, early 20th century, that really important time period, not only in American history, American immigrant history, and the development of all these communities and the organizations they were establishing, but what was going on back in their homeland too, and how the Americans, those immigrants here to America helped influence what would become the future Czechoslovakia, this democratic nation of Czechs and Slovaks. So there's this back and forth relationship that's being established, and we have these materials here that document that. So let's mine that, and so we can better understand those kind of dynamics.
Absolutely, and I think that's so important for our future, because I think the future generations need to know that, and future generations need to understand the role that Czechs and Slovaks played in a democratic society.
Yeah.
And that's so important. So just to highlight for everyone, and thanks to Michelle, she's given me a cheat sheet here about all the things. Please check out our website. We have of course, our annual Checkout Book Club, September 16th, but that's going to be on our website. We have a wonderful opening of an exhibit called Exodus, which is already up in the library, but we're going to have an opening on September 19th. And this is rare because it's a very special exhibit from photos in Ukraine, and sort of the story of the Ukrainians. And Ukrainians are Slavic people, just like Czechs and Slovaks were Slavic people. So that's going to be on the 19th at 5 o'clock. So be sure you mark that on your calendar. And then, of course, I've already talked about our Brunast, and we've got our other exhibit openings, and then certainly on the 24th, 25th, and I've already said about the exciting things coming up. And then our cooking stool, again, on the 26th, so we're not going to let anything go to sleep here. And 27th is our presidential visit and more cooking school. And then, if you'll, after this is all, we're going to take a 2-week breather. And then the last week of October and the first week of November, so October, November, we're having something called Czech and Slovak Echoes Across America. And this is to sort of culminate everything. For 2 weeks, we're doing Rusalka, the opera Rusalka, a concert version of Rusalka. Twice we're doing that. And all of these people are coming from the Czech Republic and Slovakia. We're doing Peter Dvorsky's video, premiering his video here. We're doing a number of things. So we're going to have a 2-week respite after all of this, but then the last week of October and the first week of November, mark your calendars because those will be very special. And we're working with the Czechs and the Slovaks to bring everybody down here. And thanks to one of our colleagues in Prague who's been very good at helping us orchestrate everything, Aleš Nováčil, and we are going to have a big, big 2 weeks. Then it'll be the Christmas fair, and then we'll take a breather and start on 25. But 24 is really our big 50th time. And Dave, thank you for making this 50th so special and for all you do.
I do want to point out one thing that it's been kind of caught up in this whole series of events that we have here, but we have converted one of our rooms into a research room in honor of he is an immigrant himself, he and his wife, Dr. Miloslav Rexigal. Dr. Rexigal, his vocation was in the sciences, but his avocation was really in understanding and writing about the contributions of Czechs and Slovaks to America, and talking about that immigrant experience, and then even to the point where he would say that he did a lot of genealogical research to say that even Obama had relationship to the Czech kings. So anyway, to that extent, but he. So he will be here for Brunost,
right.
and then also we'll have the next day, Saturday, the 21st, we'll have a recognition of his contributions, and so that will be something that we'll be honoring him with.
Yeah, thank you for it. So you're all invited on the 21st in the afternoon for this opening of the Dr. Miller Rexigal and Eva, I think it's called Miller, and his wife Eva was his great right hand. And he's coming, he's flying in from Florida. He's 93 years old. And his son told me the other day, I called him, he said he can't stop writing. He's writing another book. He keeps writing books. He wrote a book recently on famous American Czech and Slovak women and then famous Czech and Slovak scientists. And he just can't stop writing. He's at the computer all the time. And this is really going to be a highlight that he's going to have his own reading room here. And so come and meet him. He's a real character.
Yeah.
I served on, when he was president of the Society for Czechoslovak Arts and Sciences, for 8 years on his board, and he was a taskmaster. Boy, we got everything done and all the programs that he wanted, and he worked for NIH, National Institute of Health, but he was really, in his heart, he was a historian, and everything Czech and Slovak, especially Czech, he loved. Yeah,
that's his passion.
Yeah, it is really. So thanks for saying that. So mark your calendars, the 21st, the day after the Brunost. I think you just might as well pack up and come here and camp out in front, right? Yes, questions, good.
I just want to say one thing. If the library was not in the plans originally for the museum, and if it wasn't for Malvina Schvetz, we would not have this library in all of this.
Thank you for saying.
Because of her, we do have a library.
So yeah, it's nice that we have advocates for the library. So early on in the existence of the museum's beginnings, and people who were persistent. It sounds like she was a very persistent woman. Yeah. Never met her, but those people who were around at that time, whom I've known, told me about her dedication to having a library, and certainly I think it certainly augments having a research library connected to a museum because there's a lot of synergy that goes back and forth between the
I
two.
agree. I think it's a compliment. And one of the things, thank you so much, Marge, for saying that. And that's a good segue also into the book. We have one in our audience today, Lori Routhy, who is one of the co-authors of a book that we're writing about the history of the museum. There's no history book that's ever been written. This will be an incredible encyclopedia, really, for all of you to have at home. And I do know, Lori, are you including Melvina in there? I think you are.
Oh, absolutely. She has a whole spread.
Okay, so there you go. We do have that. So this book, we've delayed the book publishing because we wanted to wait for the presidents. So we'll wait to have the book later. But be sure you get your order in because that book will be a real treasure. It's the first time we've ever had a compilation of the history of this museum and how the early people, in the 70s got this going. And the one thing that we're so blessed is that we are proclaimed by Congress as the National Museum. Not all the museums have that proclamation by Congress. Senator Grassley at that point, Representative Grassley, I believe.
Senator, I believe at
Oh,
that
he was
point,
there.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So
But
we're very-
and then so all that was from our institutional archives. So so Lori's been mining that, and so that's another thing that we maintain here is records about us. So so that has paid off certainly. So it's good to know who you are.
And I think one of the messages that we're hearing, the Gazette has done a very nice job of promoting our clock tower and so forth. The one thing that I'm hearing from people is, you don't have to be Czechoslovak to like what's here, but you can learn about your own culture through the Czechs and Slovaks.
Right.
You might be German, you might be Norwegian, you might be Swedish, and your story might be similar.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we hope that people will come to the museum and say, I'm not Czechoslovak, but I learned a lot and I can apply it to, because I think the one thing in society today is we need to know what our cultural ancestry is, and this is a good way to find it out. So Dave, any closing words?
Boy, there's a lot going on. So encourage you all to be part of it, and just look at our website, and that's probably where you're going to find the most up-to-date information about what's coming up here in the next month or so. A lot going on.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, you alluded to what's in the future. We're going to be starting a new strategic planning process that'll be starting in the new year. So look forward to being part of that as well.
So lots going on the horizon. We finished 5 years. Now we're going to looking to the next 10. And we certainly thank all of you, both in our listening audience, and I love having the live audience here. It's always great to have you for Coffee and Kolaches. And please, again, check out our website because the things are happening so fast and changing so fast with our programs that, and if you can't use the computer or you don't want to use the computer, just give us a call. And Michelle is always great to fill you in on what's happening. So any other questions from our audience? Okay, then we'll see you all on the week of the 20th through the 27th every day. And for those of you that are listening, we'll see you all here too. So have a great day.